What's up, guys? Dinebot here, and this is Toy Soldiers War Chest. So, how is this game? Well, it's bloody awful. Let's take a look at why. So, here's your options menu. You'll notice I'm using the controller. I'm doing this to prove a point. So, if you want to move around this menu, you have to first click, then select. Now, mouse-wise, yes, you can move around like this, but still, that controller design, piss poor. Let's take a look. Audio. Separate sliders for music and sound effects. Nothing for voice. Thanks. That would have been nice. No global slider either. Graphics. Full screen on or off. Anti-aliasing on. SSAO. VSync. I have VSync on because this game's performance is piss poor. It's awful. And keeping VSync on helps with that. Same with shadow quality. I found that if I turn shadow quality up, for some reason this game's frame rate just absolutely goes to hell. Even on medium. Grass seems to be okay. Texture detail, well, that's on high, but I mean, that doesn't actually make that much of a difference. As for resolution options, I hope you enjoy capping out at 1080 and don't have a 4K monitor because you're not using it with this game. Keyboard. Yes, you can rebind your keys. Mouse, sensitivity. Pretty sure this game has mouse smoothing. You do have full rebindable controls for cameras, character, turrets, planes, vehicles, shell cam, yada yada yada. I don't know why shell cam's a separate menu. It's actually pretty pathetic. And gamepad, you can turn it inverted or southpaw on or off because God forbid we be able to rebind keys on a controller on a PC in 2015. So, the options menu sucks. Let's talk about the rest of this game. You have your weekly war. This is a set of maps that unlocks each week, or each day of the week rather. And you can win toy boxes, which we'll get to in a minute. Are these challenges interesting? No, they're just survival maps. Multiplayer and co-op, haven't been able to try it because, well, multiplayer doesn't seem to work worth a damn. Your achievements, your friend feed, which will constantly badger you with achievements that your friends have made. Uplay, because Ubisoft doesn't seem to realize none of us want to have to deal with Uplay, so they force it on us. Here you can customize your army by applying various upgrades that you have unlocked by playing the game, or buy them. Excuse me. So yes, you'll notice that this is the Starbright army. It's very cutesy and very strange. I kind of like it. For your hero select, you've got Starbright, Dark Lord, G.I. Joe, Cobra, He-Man, Assassin's Creed for some reason, I guess Ubisoft, Kaiser Wilhelm, and Phantom. Now when you first start playing the game, everybody but Kaiser Wilhelm is locked. Then you can unlock Phantom, then you can unlock Starbright, then you can unlock the Dark Lord. And then if you want these four, you have to pay $4.99 a piece. That's right. This game had 4 sets of Day 1 DLC. These were some of the major selling points of the game when they showed it off, and they are charging us $5 a pop for them. Now then, continuing on, let's talk about the big bugbear in the room, the store. This is where you can buy blind boxes that contain Phantom toys or Starbright toys, depends on which faction you want to unlock them for. They'll unlock characters and upgrades. They cost 1,000 to 2,000 coins a piece, or you could just shell out real cash for them. That's right, this game has microtransactions to allow you to bypass the entire point of playing the game and unlock heroes that way. So, let's hop into a match and show you the rest of this game real quick. We'll go with G.I. Joe, because G.I. Joe. So, I've played a decent amount of the missions. The campaign, as you can see, is a decently good length. I'm going to be playing this with the controller because, frankly, when I tried to play it with the mouse and keyboard, it was just not fun. Also, the loading times for this game are atrocious. This is coming off an SSD, and it takes forever. So while we wait to load, what is Toy Soldiers? Well, Toy Soldiers is a tower defense game that allows you to take control of your own turrets as well as certain special units, defending your toy box and its health bar against waves of incoming enemies. Sounds familiar? It probably should, considering this is the 3rd game in the series, as well as this being something that other tower defense games have done before. The main thing that carries this game is its theme, and quite frankly, it doesn't carry it far enough. Fire support, kill 50 units with barrages, bare bones, finish the level without upgrading. So the game will throw these challenges at you and they'll let you unlock more blind boxes. Or you could just pay real money if you don't feel like actually being challenged by the game. To be fair, though, there is not a massive amount of challenge to be had as long as you pay attention to what you're doing, which is, I think, a primary feeling of the game, and we'll talk about that as we get a little further in. So, it's going to start us out with a tank here. A very clunky tank. Right in the heart of enemy territory, too. So this tank is going to die. Alright, so you notice waves have launched. Now you can look at a tactical overview of your map. And we're going to need a machine gun tower. And I think I'll build some... I don't want to build... Well, we'll build artillery right there for now. So, there are several types of units for each faction. There is a machine gun. There is a anti-armor. There is an anti-air, and there is a heavy artillery piece. Now, these basic types are the same for every faction. They only vary a little bit in cosmetics and certain visual differences in the way you fire them. None of them are really gigantically different gameplay mechanics. They're simply cosmetic differences to differentiate between the factions, which I think is a major negative for the game. The designers, I feel, missed a great opportunity to have the various factions play in a very different manner just by simply changing the way that certain weapons and turrets operate. Now, that's not to say they're not fun and that they don't have some differences. The Starbright faction, for instance, the game claims that the units that it has are slower but more powerful. And it certainly seems that way to a point. It's kind of hard to tell the way this game is balanced, but hey. Now we're going to sell that artillery laser. And we're going to put down another turret. Now, one thing I have noticed about this game is that it's very free with the money. And it doesn't really feel like there's all that much strategy to upgrading. You can pretty much upgrade extremely quickly, and we need how much for that? 1,500. So we'll build that next. It feels like you could pretty much just buy every upgrade out of the gate. Now, moving on, the game encourages you to take care or take control of your turrets, and it does that in a number of ways. Some of which I like, and some of which I very much do not. Taking direct control of your turrets will allow you to, of course, focus on targets of your choice rather than AI. Although the turret AI is generally pretty good, it also allows you to build up this meter you see here on the left, which will allow you to call in special units. And these units are devastating. But the game also punishes you in a way for not taking control of your turrets. There are certain challenges, such as one that I saw on a map that had kill 1,000 infantry troops. Well, progress towards that only counts if you directly man the turrets. So the game forces you to take direct control if you want to actually unlock extra stuff, like more blind boxes and things, by taking control of those units. You absolutely have to take control of the turrets. I feel that it's forcing you to use a mechanic that maybe you wouldn't use otherwise if you really wanted to maintain a strategic overhead view of the map. They very much pressure you into doing that. And that should take care of that turret. So what we're going to do here is try to take these turrets and kind of stair-step our way forward. Put up an anti-infantry watchtower. So we will showcase one thing here real quick. So some of the, I'll fire the artillery for it. So there's a shell can, but one thing I really like is the reloading animations. Every faction has them for every unit. They're often very well done. They fit the theme very well. Of course, I can't quite reach that turret, so I'm probably actually going to... Let's sell this one before we just completely lose it. As you can see here from the upgrades, I'm just constantly upgrading and not really losing that much money. Now, you can gain special upgrades for your units. I have a scope now from doing that one upgrade, but there are upgrades that come from beating missions and opening the toy boxes that will allow you to customize your army to a limited extent. So it's a welcome addition. I feel like it could have been a little bit more fleshed out, but it is something neat that they've included for us. Another thing that I do like is once you're in command of a turret, if you simply tap your D-pad, you can move from one turret to the next without having to zoom all the way out. It's a nice touch, keeps you from having to actually go back and fiddle with the movement controls and camera in the midst of a battle. So that at least is a welcome addition. As you can see, the enemy AI, not maybe the smartest. Again, we are fighting World War II era German troops apparently, so let's put some anti-armor right there and see if they can actually do some work, and then we'll try to call in one of these special units. There is an element of strategy also to launching your waves. You can choose to wait the full time between waves, which I have been doing while I talk, or you can choose to go ahead and speed them up. At the end of the level, you're given a time saved bonus. So this can help you get more in-game currency, unlock more blind boxes. So it gives you a certain ability to choose between playing aggressively or playing in a more defensive and thought-out manner. So interesting touch. Honestly, in my opinion, it doesn't have a massive influence on gameplay. We're going to have to repair this turret. And one thing that I will complain about is more often than not, you get these firing lanes with your turrets. In particular, one level comes to mind where the turret can see the actual spawn point for the enemy units. And I was simply able to just hold down the trigger and destroy entire enemy waves with almost no issue. In fact, I looked away from the monitor for almost 5 minutes during that wave and had a conversation with somebody else, and when I looked back and let go of the right trigger, I had won. So, and that was one of the weekly battle maps. So, in some ways, there's not a ton of challenge to the game. Rapid fire for G.I. Joe is apparently Christmas lights. So over on the right, you can see, I'll launch the wave, you can see what type of wave is coming by looking at the various icons. The shield is armor, the plane obviously is anti-air, which I need to go ahead and build. So this level's a little bit more complicated than some others in that it places the enemy right up in your face from the get-go. Another complaint that I have is the fact that the anti-armor turrets won't fire on the enemy anti-armor by themselves, whereas those are clearly have no issues firing on me. Seriously, defend yourselves, guys. Go ahead and repair this one. And what shall we put here? Oh, I think we'll put another infantry tower. I would have liked to have seen a little more diversity in the types of turrets. I feel that there's just not a ton there. What's going on over here? Let's launch this next wave. And so there goes the timer for that. Now, there are certain weaknesses for types. It's a little harder to kill enemy infantry with anti-air, but by no means is it impossible, as you'll see right there. And once you have the right units in the right place, you pretty much can't lose. It's almost impossible unless you really screw up. So, at a certain point, you could literally just set up your turrets and then walk away, which I feel is a big problem for a tower defense game that's supposed to have a very strategic element to it. We'll try to fill up this bar here. Another problem that I have is with the special units. Cobra Commander in particular stands out. The voice acting, they obviously couldn't get permission to use the original sound clips or get the original voice actor because the clip sounds like a imitator of an imitator. It's terrible, frankly. If you've ever watched the original cartoon, it will make you cringe. And it really does more to harm the game than embrace any nostalgia factor inherent in having Cobra Commander on the battlefield, because it sounds like an 11-year-old kid imitating something he saw on TV. And maybe that was the point. I dearly hope not, but it's very off-putting and kind of wrecks my enjoyment of that particular unit. I'll just continue steadily upgrading here. There's pretty much nothing stopping us from building an unstoppable, impenetrable army. You can see we're almost fully upgraded with every unit, and we're only on wave 7. Well, this will be a good opportunity to show off the anti-air mechanics as soon as I finish upgrading it for no penalty in terms of time. Here we go. So the G.I. Joe artillery is or anti-air is a little different. Some of the others have a lock-on mechanic that you can use, kind of a fire and forget. This one has a great many more rounds than they do, though, so... Toy animations are great, and a lot of the voice acting for the basic units is really good. So those bombers just kind of flew over. Let's see if we can... do something about all this infantry and maybe just maybe get ourselves a power up. So that needs to be repaired like right now. So, do I enjoy Toy Soldiers War Chest? Moderately. You do have the level up system, which is kind of fun. It allows you to unlock things and customize your army to a limited extent. Would I recommend it? Not particularly. There are a lot of other games that do what this game does better, because aside from its theme, the best that I can say for Toy Soldiers War Chest is that it's competent. It has competent shooting, it has adequate upgrades for its turrets, it has a barely adequate variety of units, and other than that, really, the only thing it has going for it is its theme, and its heavy reliance on that theme. So, here we have more anti-air coming in. Oh, joy. So yeah, guys, I would not recommend it. The fact that it's on Uplay is also another serious negative to me. So, while it is an interesting concept, and while they did clearly have some fun with the theme, the whole toy box motif is very nice, which I've always enjoyed with the Toy Soldiers series. It doesn't do anything special, new, or different that the other games in the series before it didn't do, except for including blatant nostalgia bait in the form of He-Man and the G.I. Joe characters. And honestly, the exclusion of Assassin's Creed characters is just bizarre, because they were never a toy set to begin with. They're simply cashing in on an Ubisoft franchise. And I believe you could safely pass this one by and pick up one of the older Toy Soldier games or one of the other numerous tower defense games that are available on Steam. You certainly won't be missing anything, and you'll save yourself a lot of money in DLC and microtransactions. So with that, I'm going to kill these tanks, and I think I'll be done with this game unless I can actually find somebody to play it against online, which I highly doubt. So thanks for watching, guys. My name is Dimebot. Later. Like what you saw? Click subscribe so you don't miss anything, or click on one of these other videos.